Good morning, one and all, and welcome to our worship service at First Unitarian Society of Ithaca. Here we gather, nurturing our connections, seeking inspiration, and embracing change. My name is Suvanki, and I'm your celebration associate today. Thank you so much for joining us. Those of you that are here in the sanctuary, and also those online. It feels really good to be here together. Please check our website for more information about how to create connections. If you'd like to receive updates describing opportunities for engagement, please email a request to office@uuithaca.org. Newcomers are especially invited to visit our website and complete a newcomer form on the homepage. Our service this morning is being live streamed from our sanctuary in downtown Ithaca and will be available for later viewing as well as on our YouTube channel. I have one announcement. Honor someone's memory with spring flowers for our April 17th service. These flowers will decorate the sanctuary during the April 17th service. After the service is over, you can take your plant home, or we can arrange to give it to someone who would appreciate it. A list of individuals honored in this way will be in the order of service. Flowers can be ordered through the link in the weekly announce or by the contacting office at uuithaca.org. And now the chalice lighting. In your order of service, you can follow along. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. Thank you. Before I begin the opening words, I'd like to do a little bit of an introduction for our speaker, Lexa, which was in the order, or it was in the weekly announce, I believe. Lexa moved to Ithaca from her native Germany more than 20 years ago. It took her a long time to find a community that would welcome her trans daughter and herself, a lesbian mother. When they visited FUSIT for a choir concert 6 years ago, they knew they'd finally found the right place. Lexa is a crisis counselor with the National Crisis Line. When she isn't working, she loves to knit, work with her service dog Baloo, or bake bread. Come into the circle of love and justice. Come into the community of mercy, holiness, and health. Come, and you shall know peace and joy.
I invite you to rise and join me in body or spirit for our opening hymn number 300 with heart and mind. With heart and mind and voice and hand, may we this time and place transcend, to make our purpose understood, a mortal Good morning, friends. I have a book here, and I'd like to invite anyone who is young or young at heart, or who simply wants to get a little closer so you can see the artwork, to come on forward and sit on the stage now with me. And then I'm going to need some help seeing what is in my wonder box today. Guthrie, will you actually grab the wonder box for me and take it right down on the floor, and you can all open it up together? You got it? All right, go ahead and open it up. It's a little bit of assembly required today. Can you take the things out and figure out what we've got in there? Someone tell me what it is? It's a scale, that's right. So here's a scale. There are some other things in there, so you can experiment with the scale while I'm up here. So scales are used to weigh and measure things. The traditional scale consists of 2 plates or bowls suspended at equal distances from a fulcrum or a center lever, while objects of known weights are added to the other plate. We have some objects of unknown weights there, so they're going to get to experiment. So you continue doing this until both plates are balanced. Once the plates are balanced, then you have found the weight of the original object. The oldest evidence of weighing scales dates back to circa 2400 to 1800 BC. So it's safe to say that people have been weighing things for a very long time. Our theme this month is awakening, and today we're going to reflect on waking up to what really matters and weighing things carefully. It's often easy to pay attention to the surface of things and not look any deeper. But when we do that, it's very possible that we miss out on the truly important things in life, like the sound that stones make hitting a plastic container. A different example would be, has anyone ever seen a duck on a pond? What do you think? Hands up, you seen a duck on a pond? Yeah. And on the surface, the duck looks very calm and relaxed. But if we look a little deeper, underneath the surface, the duck's feet are actually moving really rapidly and quickly and disturbing the water underneath. So part of our jobs as UUs is to make sure we're balancing or weighing how much attention we pay to the shallow and surface things, and how much attention we pay to the deeper things, like our values, our search for truth and meaning, a calling found in our 4th principle. So as I mentioned, I do have a book here. It's a favorite in our house. I don't know if you have this at home. This is Ada Twist, Scientist by Andrea Beatty. See how well you can multitask down there. All right, here we go. Ada Marie, said not a word till the day she turned 3. She bounced in her crib and looked all around, observing the world but not making a sound. She learned how to climb and made her big break with a trail of chaos left in her wake. She ran through the day chasing each sound in sight and didn't slow down till she conked out each night. Her parents were frazzled, but tried not to freak, as Ada grew bigger and still did not speak. Clearly, young Ada had lots in her head and would have something to say when it ought to be said. That's just what happened when Ada turned 3. She tore through the house on a fact-finding spree and climbed up the clock just as high as she could. Her parents yelled, "Stop!" as all good parents would. Ada's chin quivered, but she did not cry. She took a deep breath and simply asked, "Why? Why does it tick? And why does it talk? And why don't they call it a granddaughter clock? Why are there pointy things stuck to a rose? Why are there hairs up inside of your nose?" She started with why, and then what, how, and when. By bedtime, she came back to why once again. She drifted to sleep as her dazed parents smiled at the curious thoughts of their curious child, who wanted to know what the world was about. They kissed her and whispered, "You'll figure it out." Her parents kept up with their high-flying kid, whose questions and chaos both grew as she did. Even Miss Greer found her hands were quite full when young Ada's chaos wreaked havoc at school. But this much was clear about Miss Ada Twist. She had all of the traits of a great scientist. Ada was busy that first day of spring, testing the sounds that make mockingbirds sing, when a horrible stench whacked her right in the nose, a pungent aroma that curled up her toes. "Zowie," said Ada, which got her to thinking, what is the source of that terrible stinking? How does a nose know there's something to smell? And does it still stink if there's no nose to tell? She rattled off questions and tapped on her chin. She'd start at the start, where she ought to begin. A mystery, a riddle, a puzzle, a quest. This was the moment that Ada loved best. Ada did research to learn all she could of smelling and smells, both the stinky and good. One hypothesis Ada thought could be true: the terrible stink came from Dad's cabbage stew. She tested and tested, but soon Ada knew it was time to come up with hypothesis 2. Then zowie, the stink struck again, just like that. Hypothesis 2, it's caused by the cat. The cat couldn't make such a stink on its own. It needed perfume and some fancy cologne. So young Ada tested. The test was a flop. She started again, but her parents yelled, "Stop!" If you can't see, Ada's about to put the cat in the washing machine. Ada Marie, to the thinking chair now, by the time we count 3. Enough, said her mother. That's it, said her dad. Her parents were frustrated, frazzled, and mad. Why? Ada questioned. Her mother said, no. What? Ada queried. Her father said, go. You've ruined our supper. You've made the cat stink. Enough with your questions. Now sit there and think. She looked at her parents. Her heart turned to goo. Poor Ada Twist didn't know what to do. She sat all alone by herself in the hall, and Ada, once more, could say nothing at all. So Ada sat, and she sat, and she sat, and she thought about science and stew and the cat, and how her experiments made such a big mess. Does it have to be so? Is that part of success? Are messes a problem? And while she was thinking, what was the source of that terrible stinking? Ada Marie did what scientists do. She asked a small question, and then she asked 2. And each of those led her to 3 questions more, and some of those questions resulted in 4. As Ada got thinking, she really dug in. She scribbled her questions and tapped on her chin. She started at why, and then what, how, and when. At the end of the hall, she reached why once again. What'd she do? Her parents calmed down, and they came back to talk. They looked at the hallway and just had to gawk. No patch of bare paint could be seen on the wall. The thinking chair now was the great thinking hall. They watched their young daughter and sighed as they did. What would they do with this curious kid who wanted to know what the world was about? They smiled and whispered, we'll figure it out. And that's what they did, because that's what you do when your kid has a passion and heart that is true. They remade their world. Now they're all in the act of helping young Ada sort fiction from fact. She asks lots of questions. How could she resist? It's all in the heart of a young scientist. And as for that smell, what can Ada Twist do but learn all she can from her friends in grade 2? Will they discover the stink that curls toes? Well, that is the question, and someday, who knows? Thank you so much for sharing this story with me today. A great way to explore weight, measurement, and balance is through science. In our story, Ada Twist, scientist, takes the time to ask the questions why, what, how, and when. And oftentimes, those questions lead to more questions. This story shows us the importance of asking our questions, staying curious, and continuing our search for truth and meaning. As we move forward, I hope that you stay curious and keep exploring and allow yourself to awaken to the wonders of the world around you.
For those of you who don't know, the stained glass over there is Anna Botsford Comstock. She was a member of our church and one of the leaders of the science teaching by inquiry method. And so when you were speaking, Emily, I saw Anna smile. I don't know if it's possible, but I saw it. Okay. In a spirit of reverence, love, and care, we take time now to bear witness to some of the joys and sorrows of our community, to share those events that call for our prayers and support, our praise and celebration. I have a couple of joys. This first one from Magdalene Lindeberg. Happy birthday to our son Julian Perry, who turned 21 yesterday, and to his father, Keith, who shares the same birthday. Happy birthday, guys. And this from Madonna Stallman. Thanks to the help of two fine young people, Gemma MacArthur and Guthrie Graves, 5 Corsi Rosenthal air purifiers were built in the FUSIT annex yesterday. Gemma and Guthrie worked for 2.5 hours putting the air filters together, and because of their efforts, our RE classrooms and other gatherings will be much safer. Thank you, folks. For those we are holding in our thoughts, in our hearts, and perhaps in our prayers, let us call these names out loud into this community, into this space of healing and hope and liveliness right now. We extend loving kindness to all in our world, and let us not forget to extend loving kindness to ourselves. Today, tomorrow, and beyond, let our hands be outstretched in kindness, and let us keep showing up to our lives and each other with an open heart, no matter what. Love and courage to us all. Amen.
Why I wake early? Hello, sun in my face. Hello, you who make the morning and spread it over the fields and into the faces of the tulips and the nodding morning glories and into the windows of even the miserable and crotchety. Best preacher there ever was. Dear star that just happens to be where you are in the universe, to keep us from ever darkness, to ease us with warm touching, to hold us in the great hands of light. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Watch now how I start the day in happiness and kindness.
Each week, we take an offering to sustain the important ministries and programs of this congregation and its presence in Ithaca. The giving information is shown in the order of service. For those watching remotely, their text number and website will appear on your screen during the offertory music and the information below the live stream image on the YouTube. Giving to the plate is important. It's a symbol of our gratitude for this service and our ongoing commitment to support the work of this church. So please take a moment and give either through the text option or the giving button on our church website. If you're attending in person and would prefer to write a check, you can place your offering in the box by the door when you exit after the service. Please join me in saying the offertory words printed in your order of service. May these gifts bring about connection, inspiration, and engagement within these walls and beyond.
What you missed that day you were absent from 4th grade. Mrs. Nelson explained how to stand still and listen to the wind, how to find meaning in pumping gas, how peeling potatoes can be a form of prayer. She took questions on how not to feel lost in the dark. After lunch, she distributed worksheets that covered ways to remember your grandfather's voice. Then the class discussed falling asleep without feeling you had forgotten to do something else, something important, and how to believe the house you wake in is your home. This prompted Mrs. Nelson to draw a chalkboard diagram detailing how to chant the Psalms during a cigarette break, and how not to squirm for sound when your own thoughts are all you hear. Also, that you have enough. The English lesson was that I am is a complete sentence. And just before the afternoon bell, she made the math equation look easy, the one that proves that hundreds of questions and feeling cold And all those nights spent looking for whatever it was you lost, and one person add up to something. I don't know about you, but I would have loved to have had Mrs. Nelson for my teacher in 4th grade, or any grade for that matter. But somehow I got a different teacher, and they skipped that very important lesson in favor of something that was deemed more important by the Board of Education. Missing out on life lessons doesn't seem to be something new for any of us. When an important relationship reached the end of its life, when the person we loved so much died, when the last thing we said to someone before they vanished from our life was not, "I love you," but something harsh said in anger or disappointment, when our country screams with the pains of racism and oppressions, when one more trans person is killed and one more queer person silenced by law, when the whole world turns upside down with violence and war, we probably all realized that we missed that one day in 4th grade when Mrs. Nelson taught us how to be resilient, how to survive, how to love others and us, and how to forgive, fall, and accept help to get up again. These last few weeks have been scary for many of us. Florida and Texas have implemented laws to legislate the LGBTQ community out of visibility and existence. Don't Say Gay may sound like something silly, but trying to write us out of the lives of school children, trying to make us invisible, is anything but silly. It's scary. The Russian president, hungry for total power, has decided to ignore human lives and human rights and to bring us to a brink of another world war. Arctica and Antarctica just experienced their warmest seasons ever recorded. And despite all our best efforts, despite shots, boosters, masks, and social distancing, the numbers of new cases has increased considerably over the last several weeks here in Ithaca and Tompkins County. I don't know about you, but I am exhausted. Where is Mrs. Nelson when you need her? And yet we are still here. We may be tired, we may be exhausted, we may be right out of answers and ideas to anything life may throw at us, but we are still here. We are here because we are not alone. We are part of families, groups of friends, communities, neighborhoods, and our own beloved community here. We are surrounded by people who, like us, are a mix of struggles and successes, questions and answers. And we are not only surrounded by other people, we can reach out to those around us as well. We can ask for help, can accept support, and we can be the help and support of those around us too. I know that's easier said than done. Or maybe I should say it's easier said than believed. Some of us, I'm sure, feel quite ready to ask for, accept, and offer support and help to others. But some of us may struggle with that idea. Some of us may wonder if we really deserve help and support. We don't want to become a burden to others. We don't feel that our struggles are really important compared with the struggles of those around us. And we are quite certain that we are not good enough to offer any meaningful help or support to those around us. And so we become silent, withdrawn, and decide to struggle on our own. But here we are beloved community. We are here to support each other. We are here to do things together we cannot do on our own. And we are here to remind each other that all of us are indeed beloved, that all of us are indeed enough, that we all deserve help and support, and that all of us have help and support to offer. This morning, I cannot be the only person around here who at times struggles with believing that I am indeed good enough. So this morning, I invite you to do what we never do during our Sunday celebrations. I invite you to turn to your neighbor and tell them, you are enough. Some of us have to speak up a little bit because we don't sit all close together. But sitting with family and friends or sitting on our own, we all need this reminder today. You are enough. And our beloved community is the best place to hear it from others. So while you are all staring at me, I really want you to turn to each other, to tell each other you are enough. You are indeed enough. And if you didn't hear it, or didn't believe it, or didn't feel this describes you, I will say it again. You, all of us are enough. Enough to offer help. Enough to be supportive. Enough to ask for support, and enough to receive it. You are enough. Enough to be loved, enough to love, enough to be free from abuse, fear, and pain. You are enough. But sometimes we may feel that we may be kind of enough. We will never be enough to change the world, to help where help is needed, to make an impact that is more than the famous drop of water in the desert. I know sometimes it is easy to lose sight and hope in the midst of days like these. But while the newspapers and the TV news outlets may not be full of these stories, every day, people just like you and me help indeed to change the world. A handful of young people here in Ithaca, one only 18 years old, have decided to say no to a corporate system that exploits those who work for it. And they have begun unionizing. And they were successful. Last Friday, after counting the votes, it became official. All 3 stores here in Ithaca are now unionized. Here at FUSIT, people are all coming together to support young parents in need, making sure that infants and young children have a safe space to sleep and sit, and a safe car seat for the rides. Every single item any of you hands out, donates towards, or buys has changed and will continue to change the lives of children and their caregivers. In Florida and Texas, teachers refuse to follow Don't Say Gay, making sure that all lived realities continue to be visible in all parts of public life. People all over the world come together to help others in need. At kitchen cupboards, at meal programs, at refugee centers and homeless shelters. People come together to help and support those who need help and support right now. And that, I think, is the real lesson of life, that each of us is enough, just as we are right now. And because of that, together we can do incredible things, changing the world, helping those in need, saying no to those who hurt us, leaving relationships that aren't healthy, asking for support when we need it, and even learning to love ourselves. We are part of this beloved community. We are part of many other communities. We are all part of the worldwide community of those who are enough. We may have missed Mrs. Nelson's wonderful lessons that day in 4th grade. We may see the chopping of veggies as a chore instead of a prayer, and the chanting of psalms during a cigarette break is as elusive as ever. That's not important. What is important is that you are enough. We are enough. And because we are enough, we can change the world together.
I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 354, We Laugh, We Cry. I heard some amazing percussion out there, so feel free to join in on with us with those percussion instruments you found. That's right. We laugh, we cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. spirit of this child, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a time to be together, and with the grace of age we share the wonder of youth, and we believe that growing is an answer. Our lives are full of wonder and our time is very brief. The death of one among us fills us all with pain and grief. But as we live and though we die, and when our lives are done, the memories we share with friends, they will linger on, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a place to be together. We have the right to grow, we have the gift to believe that peace within our living is an answer. We seek elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of human strife. We search for truth, equality, and blessed peace of mind. And then we come together here to make sense of what we find. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found our joy being together. And in our search for peace, maybe we'll finally see, even to question truly is an answer.
We need one another when we are mourn and would be comforted. We need one another when we are in trouble and afraid. We need one another when we are in despair, in temptation, and in need to be recalled to our best selves again. We need one another when we would accomplish some great purpose and cannot do it alone. We need one another in the hour of success when we look for someone to share our triumphs. We need one another in the hour of defeat, when with encouragement we might endure and stand again. We need one another when we come to die and would have gentle hands prepare us for the journey. All our lives we are in need, and others are in need of us.